Hey y'all, I thought I'd do the mid-year book freakout tag even though it's a little bit late and I wasn't tagged, but it just sounded like something fun to do. I haven't read a lot of books this year, so there's gonna be some limitations to my answers. I hope to read more books in the second half of the year, especially since I've started listening to audiobooks. I think that's been really helpful in getting my word count up. So number one, the best book you've read so far in 2024. Technically I read this last year, but I didn't finish it, and I've been reading little bits of it here and there, which is Manacled. So Manacled is a Draco Hermione fan fiction. It's not actually a book, so I think fan fiction counts. And it's really similar to The Handmaid's Tale, which I haven't read, but I've heard great things about, and I want to read it now that I've read Manacled for the most part. It's just so interesting and gripping. I'm just enjoying reading bits and pieces here and there. It's too long. I am enjoying it. It is the best book that I've read this year. I have not finished reading it. Number two, best sequel you've read so far in 2024. And again, I haven't finished it, but Map of the Otherlands is the sequel to Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and I'm just loving it. It's just so sweet. And Wendell is just so my type. Number three, a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. It's not that new, but The Herb Witch's Apprentice by Irene Chow. I think that's right. It just sounds really good. 16-year-old who finds out she's a witch, even though witches are kind of banned in her society. I guess that's kind of like our society anyway, but she ends up in an investigation in the palace, trying to hide that she's a witch, but bonds with the other witches, and it just sounds really fun. Number four, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So that would be A Dark and Secret Magic by Wallace Kinney. It's not out yet, but I'm looking forward to it, especially in the autumn. It just, like, the cover looks so perfect for October. So it's about a hedge witch who is kind of secluded and just lives with her cat, and she's like getting pulled in to host their coven's Halloween gathering by her sister, but then she finds a tome of like dark magic that is in her mom's handwriting. It sounds like there's a romance in it with someone that she doesn't really trust anymore, who like hurt her before. And I'm wondering if it's like a second chance romance or something. Yeah, it just sounds really good. Number five, biggest disappointment. And that would be Kayla by Colin Walsh. I read it for a book club, and I didn't finish reading it. I DNF'd because I just couldn't keep up with all of the different point of view characters, and I didn't feel like the plot was getting anywhere, and there was like issues with using you versus ye in the second person paragraphs. I don't know, it was just messy for me, and it didn't work out, and it turns out no one in the book club finished the book, so we had to cancel book club. But it has really good ratings, and it's highly recommended. It's like in the recommended section of Barnes & Noble and my local bookshop, so I don't know. There must be something that I'm missing and that my whole book club missed, because it was just not a fun time. Number six, biggest surprise, and that would be the Britney Spears memoir, memoir? I don't know if it's a biography or a memoir. The Woman in Me Is that what it's called? I wasn't expecting to read this one, but it also came up for a book club, so I listened to it on audiobook, and I was surprised at how emotionally involved I got. She just went through so much, and at first I was like, oh, she hates her mom. Why does she hate her mom? And then I was like, oh, that's why she hates her mom. So it just like, it made me think of like how I am as a parent and like my own relationships. And I don't know, it just gave me a lot to reflect on. Number 7, favorite new author, debut or new to you. And that would be Stephanie Garber. I read Once Upon a Broken Heart and I adored it. But then, so I thought it was a standalone and it's not. So then I was like, okay, I have to read the sequels. And then I found out one of them's not out. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to like wait forever and I'm gonna get so stressed out about it. And then I found out that it's not even the first trilogy in this series. So I have to go back and read the Caraval book. And yeah, it's just, it was really messy for me, but I'm looking forward to catching up on all the plot lines that I missed and get to know the characters a little better. Number 8, newest favorite character. I'm gonna say maybe Xavier from Flowerheart, even though he's like deeply flawed and spoiler, he's just so likable. Number 9, a book that made you cry. And this is really surprising because I am a huge crybaby. None of the books this year have made me cry. I think the last book that made me cry was The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson. Oh, that one really wrecked me. But yeah, nothing this year has made me cry, and I'm pretty surprised. Number 10, a book that made you happy. That would be Fellowship of Bakers and Magic by Jay Penner. It was just a fun, really inclusive little read. It was fast, lighthearted. It was sold to me as The Great British Baking Show meets Ella Enchanted, and these are like 2 of my favorite things ever. So of course I had to read it, and I thought it was pretty much those 2 things combined. It was a little less serious than Ella Enchanted is to me, but I'll probably pick up the rest of the series at some point, the Denishire series. It's not a big rush for me to continue, but it's just something that I'll pick up when I need something lighthearted to just read quickly, probably to get out of a slump someday. Number 11, most beautiful book you've bought this year. And it's, my answer for this is it's both beautiful and kind of a disappointment at the same time. So it was Evergreen by Lydia Elise Millen, and I adore her channel. I've been watching her for years. The book is gorgeous, gorgeous. I just thought it lacked a little bit of depth. It's nonfiction. She just kind of describes scenes in her life. It's a little bit like a memoir, but not quite. And I wanted to love it so much, and I didn't. But I'm gonna keep it anyway because it's pretty. Number 12, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I'd want to finish up some trilogies like the Caraval, and I guess not Emily Wilde because that's not out yet, right? I needed to catch up on Brandon Sanderson's books because I'm sure I'm falling behind. He writes faster than I can read, and he's my favorite author, so I just need to figure out what I haven't read yet and read it. since it's almost fall, I want to read Hunger Pangs and The Secret History. I've been wanting to read them for a while, but I just can't like get into the mood until autumn. I'm just like a total mood reader, so that's all I really have for this video. I know my brain is a bit messy and I'm still trying to get used to this whole YouTube thing. So yeah, thank you for watching if you watched this far. I don't know if anyone did, but leave a comment if you did and let me know. But like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.